Hello and welcome to Clubit TV. My name is Jared, and today we've managed to lasso ourselves a copy of Pioneer Days by Tasty Minstrel Games. Join us at the table as we play and review. At the start of the game, select the first player and give them the horseshoe first player token. They then draw one die out of the bag for each player plus one. These dice are rolled and they choose which die they wish to draft. When they have done this, they check to see if the die face triggers any equipment of townsfolk they have. If it does, they gain the appropriate resources. A player can also pay 3 silver to change the die face, but this will not trigger any equipment for townsfolk. In this example, I have an axe with a cattle icon on it. If I draft this die, I will receive a bonus piece of wood. The player can then use the die they drafted in one of 3 ways. Take the income above the corresponding icon on the player board, recruit the townsfolk beneath the icon on the player board, or take the following corresponding action of the die face. For the mine action, draw a gold token from the bag. For the equip action, take an equipment tile from the general store. For the cattle action, take 1 cattle from the stock and add it to the caravan. For the wood action, take 1 wood from the stock. For the medicine action, take 1 medicine bottle from the stock, and for the wild action, take any of the previously mentioned actions. With the exception of cattle, everything must be placed in a vacant space in the caravan. When you recruit a townsfolk, they can have an immediate, triggered, or ongoing effect. They will also score victory points for you at the end of the game if they survive that long. A player can also buy an extra wagon during their turn. They cost $5 for a small wagon and $8 for a large. They are added to their player board. Once all the players have drafted a die and used it, the colour of the remaining one progresses the relevant coloured disaster token along its respective track. If a black die is remaining, all of the disasters progress by 1. If a token reaches the end of the track, the respective disaster triggers. Players then resolve the disaster. Afterwards, the disaster token is reset to the start. Once a die has been used, it is placed in the used dice area. The first player token is passed to the next player and a new round begins. After 5 turns, the players arrive at a new town. Each cattle is worth a victory point, and some townsfolk will also score you victory points. Move the respective wagon along the scoring track. Then, see if you can fulfill any of the objectives by discarding the required resources. If you can, you will gain favour tokens and other bonus resources. Players can only meet each objective once. The objective and townsfolk cards and equipment tokens are removed and refreshed. All the dice are placed back into the bag. When the players arrive in the 4th town, there are 3 objective cards to fulfill. Otherwise, the end of week scoring is exactly the same as in previous rounds. The player with the most victory points at the end of the game wins. I have 1.
You have 1.
I do. Do I use it on this one? What do I need else? I need equipment as well.
Equipment. So you either sacrifice your equipment and your gold token.
It's worth it because I get quite a bit
or
of
you could just, or you could get 1 favour and 3 silver.
I have silver. I'm not worried about silver. I'm going to go for 1 gold and 1 equipment I'm sacrificing.
Right, 1 gold, 1 equipment. That gives you
2
favours.
Remember, the favour is your victory points, so these are points and prizes.
And you get 3 silver.
Oh, thank you.
And also, because of your special ability,
correct,
he gets an extra favour when he completes one of these.
Now is it 2 favour
and that's it.
Tokens?
No, just 1 favour token.
Just the 1 first. So when it says
yes, so here you got 2 favours. You get 2 tokens for that.
2 token, yes.
And then you get 1 for
and
your
then
special ability. So you now have 3 favour.
I now have 3 favour.
It's kind of catching up, but these favours don't score till the end of the game. So not all is lost. I haven't got any gold, so I can't do anything like that. If a pickaxe token had come up, then we could have gone mining. You just put your hand inside this bag, draw a token, and depending on what token you've got, like this one only has 1, but there is also
gold nugget.
2 and also 3 gold nuggets.
Oh, is there some free nugget ones?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't realise you had as many.
Which sit on your player board. But that's
one of the rounds.
That's one of the
so
rounds.
what would then happen is we would actually reset the settlement cards. We would get a new settlement and new
dice
new objectives. All the dice would go back into the bag. The townsfolk would get replenished. We'd get new townsfolk.
And then we'd also get some new equipment.
More equipment,
from the store that would then replace up here.
And how many rounds is there? How many weeks?
There are 4 weeks in total. At the end of the 4th week, there'll be actually 3 of these.
So the town, particularly at the end of the game, is a bit bigger.
Yes.
And more objectives
to complete.
Lovely.
And hopefully you'll be able to move up and down the track. If you go above 50, you turn these tokens over, so it's got a 50 plus.
Very reminiscent of Carcassonne, I think.
Yes.
And you also get victory points for your townsfolk.
Yes. So this guy, the miner that I've got, you also get 1 victory point per gold token that I've got.
So you don't score for your silver at the end, so you're just trying to use that throughout the game.
Yes.
So don't go collecting too many of them.
Yes. I mean, there are some cards that can...
or some townsfolk that actually reward you for it. Okay.
Well, I don't know about that, but you can... No, there's one that if you buy, you get victory points if you've got small and large wagons. So obviously you need silver to buy that. And also you need silver if your cattle suffer disease.
Yeah.
You need to pay for that. And also you need to... Not your cattle, your cattle suffer famine, and you can lose half of your silver cash if the raid disaster goes all the way to far.
There was a disease where you start losing your townsfolk that you've accumulated
you
along the way, unless you have medicine.
Yes.
Or you don't wish to spend your medicine on them.
Ooh.
I guess.
I suppose you could go down that path.
I don't know why.
Yes,
Seeing as they are victory points at the end of the game, you'd want to keep them if you can.
Yes, yes. Anyway, that's one round. I hope that's given people an idea of what
a typical round looks like in this game.
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay.
Right, let's go back to our thoughts and opinions on this game.
Okay. Different categories.
Indeed.
And then come up with an overall score from that, because I'm trying to be as objective as possible.
Of course.
Because certain things about a game tend to be good and some of them not so good.
Sure. Should we talk about the components first?
Yes, we'll talk about the components first. I thought generally the components were really good.
Yes.
Wooden pieces.
Oh, it's fantastic. Good quality.
Yes, really thick card.
Absolutely, yeah.
The artwork, I like the artwork. A little bit muted, but no, I mean...
Well, the artwork is, I think, really good, like cartoony, obviously, so it appeals to, like, I guess, it's a family game.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. But the components themselves, good quality wood, I guess. The card stock on the cards is okay.
Yeah, they've also got linen finish. So.
Yeah, that's right. Seem quite durable. I love the cattle, the little tiny cattle meeples. They're fantastic. I did enjoy them. Dice quality, I guess I've held better dice before in my life, but they serve a purpose. They're really good.
Yes.
I guess I just felt like they needed to be a bit bigger.
Yes,
quite
weightier.
Tiny. Yeah, more weightier. But yeah, no, apart from that, they definitely serve the purpose.
They are engraved.
Yes, I like that. I like the fact that they're engraved. Yeah,
they're not going to wear off.
Yeah, not just printed. The engraving helps.
I did like the colours. The dice were nice and bright. They weren't the same colours as the player tokens.
No.
So that was a good thing. Otherwise, it gets really confusing.
That's right. The one thing I did notice about the disaster tokens, particularly the yellow one, isn't quite as yellow as the yellow die.
Yes,
so
they are. Yeah, but that's probably a good thing. The only thing I didn't like, I thought the wagons were a little bit too large for the track. If they're close to each other, I thought they'd just kind of gone in each other's way a little bit. It would also have been nice, and these are minor nitpicks, that in some of the games that I've played, you have a corresponding token that tells the other players what colour you are, and I felt it would have been just nice to have just on one of the on your boards, a little round token that was the same colour as your wagon.
Certainly, yeah, I agree with that. Also, the score tracker, moving your wagon along the track. Whilst I like that idea, it wasn't quite clear, I think, numerically.
Yes.
Like, it was a bit hard to keep track of the numeric value where you were along that track, because it was dashes in between 5 units.
I mean, in some ways, it's trying to emulate the old.
Absolutely, no, I understood, map-wise, but you just needed numerical values.
So thematically it worked, but practically,
a bit harder to try and keep tracks of your numerical value of the points.
Yes, but at the end of the day, they're kind of like minor things.
And I kept getting confused with the favours. You're counting the number of favour tokens you've got.
Yes.
But of course, because it had a number on there saying how much victory points it was worth, it kept on throwing me out as to, okay, so do I take 2 tokens or do I take 1 token that's worth 2 victory points?
Yeah.
So I think the victory point scoring and the favours thing, I think was a bit confusing.
But you soon get used to it.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess it should have been just 1 victory point for a favour. Just make a favour equal to a victory point.
Yes, that would have been.
Would have been a bit easier to understand.
So, what about mechanisms?
I enjoyed mechanisms. I enjoy dice rolling anyway. I enjoy dice drafting games in particular.
Yes.
And the one thing that really shined for this as well was the disasters. The disasters were fantastic. I enjoyed the multiple ways you could use a single die.
Yes. That's always a good mechanism.
Either using it for cold hard cash, using it to get a townsfolk, or using it to get that particular resource.
Yes.
I thought was really good. But then also equally the remaining die left over, it's sort of like, do you go for the resource that you really, really want, or do you go for the die that you don't want to be left over and advancing a particular disaster? And do you work cooperatively with that, or do you actually try and scupper someone else's plan, make a disaster actually happen to somebody else because you're protected?
Yes.
So overall, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that part of those mechanisms.
Yes, it's quite a clever little mechanism. There's nothing, I would say, that's revolutionary about the game in terms of mechanisms.
No, definitely. I mean, dice drafting's been done already, but I like the different ways you could use the dice, and I like the disasters. That's a really good mechanism.
So we'll look at replayability now. That's how often you could probably get this game to the table. Now,
and it being fresh and new each time, I guess.
Yes. For me, this is one of the weaker areas of this game. I didn't feel it was something that it was jumping off my shelf. It wasn't something that it's not a game that if I was looking over my game shelf, I'm thinking, I really should be playing this game, or I'd like to introduce this game to yourself or to somebody else. I think it has its place. I think it has that. As you say, it's a family kind of game.
Definitely a family game.
If you had somebody who didn't like conflict, just wanted something that was fairly easy, but it's quite challenging in places, because you always feel like in this game that you want more resources and you just can't.
I definitely felt that, throughout the whole entire game. I just kept thinking, wow, if I just had more of this particular resource, and it's down to the luck of the dice, really, as to what you roll.
I mean, just our game that we played, we didn't get a single gold.
I didn't have any cattle.
Yes.
I had no way to get cattle.
So we were always struggling. I mean, there were cattle dice out there, but we had no gold dice.
No.
And the only reason you scored was because you had the bag of gold from the beginning.
To a certain extent, it's to do with the roll of dice and the best choices that you can make with those particular dice at the time. But it's very much a game of luck.
Yeah.
For that particular reason, I feel that if you play it, you could have a particularly bad day and be really put off by the game. Likewise, you could have a fantastic time with this and just the luck be completely in your favour. And so I guess playing amongst family, you may get some disgruntled, particularly children. I mean, like, how do you play with kids? And
I'll say 14 plus, but we never really take that too seriously.
But having a disappointed child, you wouldn't want that playing a game. You want everyone to feel as if they've actually achieved something or done particularly well. and when you throw luck into that, it makes it a bit tricky.
So what are we going to look at next?
Well, no, I mean, let's stick to the replayability. Replayability-wise,
So what do you think?
you do have quite a few different sets of townsfolk
Yes,
cards.
there's like 5 of them.
So you're not always playing with the same townsfolk. I guess you're playing with different towns or settlements each time as well.
Yes.
Or certainly they're coming out in a different combination. So there is replayability there, as in it's keeping it fresh.
Yes.
But you've always got the same disasters. You've always got the same resources.
There's a lot of equipment cards.
That's all pretty static.
There's
But
like
yeah,
8 different.
the different
people
types of
that you
equipment
can
that you
play.
can get each time will be different. So there is replayability there.
Yes.
As it just comes down to, I think, theme and the mechanisms as to sort of like what you were saying earlier on. I think it's individual opinion about, do I want to get it off my shelf and play it and show people it? And if you really love Western games, then, of course, you're going to be getting into the table as often as you can.
Yes.
If you like dice drafting games, you're going to be getting it to the table. So,
Yes.
and it's got good artwork, and it's got good mechanisms, and there is a bit of replayability in there to keep it fresh.
Yes.
Room for maybe an expansion with more cards, more various different starting characters and their abilities. So there is room for expansion maybe on there. Yeah.
Maybe.
Looking at the value for money wise, how much was this? Retail price?
I think this is between. I think the recommended retail price is about £50.
Okay.
But I have seen it cheaper.
So for what you actually get in there for your money, £50 I think is a bit high for me. I mean, the component quality is really good.
Yes.
The artwork is really good.
Yes.
But I just feel for £50 I would like a little bit more in there for me.
Yes. Yes, definitely. What about theme? Did you feel like you were a pioneer in the
I did to a
Wild
certain
West?
extent. I mean, it's broken down into rounds which represent the weeks, your trail, your moving from town to town. So yeah, it's definitely there. You are getting your townsfolk to help along the way. You're getting the cattle, and wagons, and you can see if you start actually getting lots of wagons and lots of cattle, you actually feel as if you're actually started to achieve something, and it actually feels as if you're actually along the trail and you are acquiring cattle along the way. Definitely.
It also, for me, it feels exactly the same thing. I also felt that it is a struggle to get resources, and you think what it must have been like for those early pioneers. They can't just sort of waltz. You're in a frontier town. You want to go and buy something, and it's just not in stock. It's not like you can go to another store and say, "Do you have this in stock?" Because that's the only store in town. So yes, it did feel like that. The artwork helps towards that.
Certainly.
So I felt theme was one of the most prominent things in this game.
Yeah, definitely. And you are in it for yourself, but sometimes because of the disasters, you are potentially helping each other or backstabbing each other. And I guess that's the kind of theme that definitely comes across that would have been happening, I guess, in the Wild West.
In the Wild West, yes.
Absolutely. So thoughts and opinions overall?
Overall, I'd say this is just below a 4 for me, 4 out of 5.
Sure.
The average score that I gave this was 3.75. So it's a decent game. It's a solid game. I said the only thing that would possibly prevent me from giving this much higher marks is I kind of wonder how often this game would be leaping off my shelf saying, play me, you really need to play me.
For me, I would like a bit more in the box for it to be worth the retail price. Really enjoyed the game. I love the artwork, and I love dice rolling games. I feel it needed an extra mechanism in there, maybe just to mitigate the fact, as I said earlier, if you have a really bad day with the dice, then you need a backup mechanism, maybe just to bolster that. Okay,
well, that's our review, our playthrough and review for Pioneer Days. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you soon.